The telephone. Before the telephone. Voiceless communication. For thousands of years, the only way for most people to stay in touch with those who lived far from them was through the mail, and letters could take weeks or even months to arrive. In the middle of the 19th century, an invention called the telegraph was revolutionizing long-distance communication around the world. With the telegraph, an operator in one city could transmit a message to an operator in another city in minutes by sending an electric current over a wire. The telegraph did have some drawbacks, however. Most importantly, the telegraph could not transmit sound, only a complicated code of clicks that few people could understand. People couldn't hold back and forth conversations over a telegraph line. They had to go to special telegraph offices to give their messages to an operator to send, which meant messages were never completely private. And sending a message over the telegraph might require a lot of traveling if you didn't live in a city or town with an office. Inventing the telephone, the voice. The telegraph proved that electrical signals could be sent across a wire. Alexander Graham Bell aimed to send the human voice across a wire by turning it into electrical signals. In 1875, he was tinkering in his lab when he accidentally spilled acid on his pants. He called to his assistant, Thomas Watson, who was in the next room, where the receiver of Bell's invention sat on a table. Eureka! Watson heard Bell's voice coming out of the machine, the first phone call. Bell worked on improving the invention, and the next year he and Watson had a telephone conversation over a distance of 2 miles. When Bell spoke into the telephone, his voice caused a thin piece of parchment, the diaphragm, to vibrate. A magnet turned those vibrations into electricity that traveled over the telephone line. At Watson's end, a second magnet and diaphragm turned the electrical signal back into sound vibrations. How the telephone changed things. A ringing success. By 1886, more than 100,000 Americans had telephones in their homes. The country, and eventually the world, became much more connected because people were able to pick up their phones and speak to anyone, anywhere. Businesses saved money, as meetings that had once required long-distance travel could now be held over the phone. People who lived in isolated areas were now able to call for help in an emergency. News traveled more quickly, and long-distance friendships became possible. Eventually, the telephone put the telegraph out of business and became one of the most successful inventions of all time.